Yeah,
Okay,
I
yeah.
do.
So you do get some sound. Like how much sound do you get from that? Like from the words we're like you have it on now with the words we're saying. How much can you hear?
I am missing a lot of information is
Yeah.
mostly what it is, but I kind of do like I've learned to listen for specific sounds. I don't have to fully understand everything, but I
Hmm.
kind of know the basics of what you're saying. And it's also based on the situation.
Right. So you have some of that contextual clues that help you understand us. So when I'm talking versus when Liam's talking, can you tell the difference in our voices?
Not no, not only that. I can tell the difference, I guess, a little bit with the voice, but it has to be something I know well or
Sure.
someone I know well.
Right. That makes
Gotcha.
sense. Yeah, you have to get really used to that. Yep.
It's easier for me to understand women voices.
Interesting.
It's more like I think it's something about their voice, just more loud maybe.
Oh, interesting.
I think it's the pitch.
Pitch.
Men have lower pitch in their voice as far as women have higher pitch, so it can be easier to understand women over men.
Well, I noticed when we were getting ready to record today, there was a high pitched sound that was made accidentally by the recording people, and you picked up on it immediately, like as soon as I did. So it was like it's
Yeah,
interesting.
exactly
Yeah.
that. I can hear some of the sounds back there, but not always.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes I can understand what people are saying, like if they're back there, but
What's high
my
pitched?
favorite memory was in high school where I was trying out for a baseball team. My interpreter was attractive, so all of the guys on the team liked her. So when she arrived to interpret, I could hear them all saying, "She's here, she's here."
Oh my
I
God.
heard them all.
That is funny. So that's why you played baseball. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's pretty funny
And
though.
and were you born deaf, Nathan?
Yep, I was born deaf. So when my parents found out, I was only a few months old, about 3 months. I failed a hearing test. Every baby gets a hearing test, and I had failed it. So that was pretty hard for my parents because something about my deafness and my hearing loss is it can be genetic. It does vary.
Okay.
So it can be genetic or it could be random. In my class, in my family, we don't have a history of deafness.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So I was the first, and that was pretty frightening for my family.
Yeah.
Well, I'd
So
imagine. Yeah.
I was lucky because I was like to be born into my family, and they were willing to move around the country. I think we moved twice to find the right education for me.
Right.
And that and both of my parents signed. So I don't remember the exact statistic. Maybe like 40% of families, at least one parent knows ASL. It's not typical for both parents to know ASL and to
for
use
deaf
it.
with deaf children, you mean?
Yep, for
Oh,
deaf
with
children.
deaf children, really? So did they? So when they figured out you were deaf, did they learn it as quickly as they can and try to teach you it when you were very young?
Not well.
Okay.
Not like immediately. Excuse me.
Okay.
So first they asked around, tried to get more information. My family's from Virginia, close to DC,
Okay.
and Gallaudet is there, which is the deaf college. So that is like there's more resources there for deaf individuals. So they asked around there, and they learned about how to support me. I was in a program for like children that were deaf. at Gallaudet. So I'm partly lucky that I was born in that area because
Yeah.
I had a better experience with accessibility. And that area has more experience with deaf people. So accessibility wise.
And you got your cochlear implants pretty young as well, right?
Yep. About a year old, I got a cochlear implant. I just got my second model last. So how the cochlear implant works is
Yeah.
it is implanted into your head.
Yeah.
So it has sort of like a machine you can see right here. It has a magnet. So yeah.
And
pretty
so
cool.
there's basically a microphone on that will send the signal directly to your brain, or sorry, to the cochlea. Or
My eardrum doesn't work. So
okay.
so it's kind of like a zombie. Like my eardrum just does not work. But it helps my eardrum to work. So it kind of stimulates that. I think I'm not like an expert. I do not know all of the details, but that's the basic understanding. It kind of
Interesting.
yeah.
Very interesting.
Oh wow. So it helps your eardrum work. Oh, interesting. Well, yeah.
So when your parents
Struggling with my headphones here.
when your parents learned sign language, did they learn ASL?
No. So they learned signed exact English. And my sister also learned it. Signed exact English is very different from ASL.
Okay.
ASL is a different language. It has structure and grammar. So for example, if you are asking for the bathroom, you say bathroom where. So that has
Okay.
different structure, but in C, you would say where is the bathroom and you would
Right.
sign every single word. So it's a code compared to a language.
Right. So sign exact English is like it has the exact same grammatical syntactical structure as English, and it's just like every word one to one has a match as a sign, right? But with ASL, it's like it's a totally different structure. So was there a reason
Yep.
behind, learning one over the other?
Yeah, so my parents wanted me to learn C, signed exact English, because it's an important skill to learn English for school. A lot of deaf children don't have the best proficiency with writing skills and understanding English because they have ASL as their first lange.
Yeah, I
So
see.
that's why it's like you kind of you are learning a new language. For deaf kids, it depends on what signs they know and also what school you go to. I went to a signed exact English school.
Right.
So I'm not like, it's called capital D deaf. That is being involved in the deaf community, like when you identify as culturally being deaf. So technically, I'm not like capital D deaf because I learned C growing up.
Interesting.
Oh.
So you're not. Is that like you're not a like as in the deaf community if you understand the English language better? Is that you're saying, or is it because you don't know ASL, or you do know ASL? I mean, you know both, but you're saying because you also know SEE, or the one that's closer to spoken English, that makes it harder to be in the deaf community. What do you mean by that exactly?
Yeah, I can explain. It's a great question. So there is a social construct in the deaf community. So you have sort of like the top of the deaf community. That is someone who has fully deaf family, maybe generations of deaf individuals. They grow up with ASL, and their language is very pure, like native ASL. They probably go to a deaf school.
Okay.
Then you have sort of my class, where you're deaf. You're a deaf child born with 2 hearing parents, which is like 90% of them. You're not you are mainstreamed. You don't go to a deaf institute. So most of the time, I was the only deaf person in my program, and I was with most all hearing people.
And do people in your class tend to do SEE versus ASL?
Not always. Some people are really like great at ASL. Some mix and they know both. For me, I am slowly mixing ASL and C. I'm trying to improve my ASL from being RIT.
And right now, are you signing in ASL or in C?
What do you think, interpreter? Mixed. I'd say mixed.
Very
Oh,
interesting.
Okay.
So a lot of the signs overlap.